If you're over 60, I need you to hear this clearly. Every breakfast you eat, and every bite, every sip, is either protecting your heart or quietly wearing it down. Most seniors think they're doing the right thing. They've cut out fried food. They've said goodbye to bacon, trimmed the red meat. That's a good start. But what if I told you that some of the most common breakfasts, even the ones labeled healthy, may actually be setting your heart up for serious trouble? I've been a heart doctor for over 30 years, working almost exclusively with older adults. And time again, I see the same heartbreaking pattern. Patients come in tired, dizzy, struggling with blood pressure or an irregular heartbeat. Yet they're eating clean, granola, fruit juice, flavored yogurt, breakfasts they thought were helping, but were actually hurting. The truth is, some of the most innocent-looking breakfast foods are not just unhelpful, they're silently harmful. And that's exactly what this video is here to uncover. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the 9 popular breakfast habits that may be quietly damaging your heart, and what you should be eating instead to feel more energized, steady, and truly protected. The first one might already be sitting on your kitchen table right now. And the last one, it just might change the way you think about breakfast for the rest of your life. Please stay with me, because what you learn in this video could genuinely change and possibly save your heart's future. Before we dive into the first heart-damaging breakfast, I want to take a moment and speak directly to you, because if you're here, it means you care. You care about your health, you care about your independence, and you care about making smart, informed choices in this chapter of life. And that's exactly why we created this channel, Trusted Senior Health, a space where seniors can come for honest, research-backed advice that respects your wisdom, your years, and your goals. So if you haven't already, please take a second to subscribe to this channel. Just click the button below. And while you're at it, tap the bell icon so you'll be notified the moment we release a new video designed just for you. We talk about everything here: nutrition, joint strength, medication safety, sleep, blood pressure, brain health, and yes, how to eat in a way that protects the body you've worked so hard to care for. And now, I'd love to hear from you. If you find this topic helpful so far, just type healthy in the comments. If you feel confused or want something explained more clearly, type clear. That tells me where I need to do better and serve you more effectively. This isn't just a video. It's a conversation, and your feedback helps me keep these videos grounded, relevant, and truly useful for seniors everywhere. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and let's move forward together into a stronger, healthier future, one smart choice at a time. 1. White bread and jam. A sweet start that quietly strains the heart. Let's begin with one of the most common morning routines I see among my senior patients. It's so familiar, it almost feels harmless. A slice of toast with a little jam. Many seniors tell me, "Doctor, I don't eat anything heavy, just a light breakfast, white bread, a little fruit jam. That's got to be better than bacon and eggs, right?" And they say it with pride, believing they've made a heart-conscious choice. But the truth is, this so-called light breakfast is quietly one of the most dangerous ways to start your day after 60. Here's why. White bread is made from refined flour, meaning all the fiber, vitamins, and nutrients have been stripped away. What's left? A form of processed carbohydrate that behaves almost exactly like sugar in your bloodstream. And jam? Even if the label says fruit only or organic, it usually contains added sugars or concentrated fruit sugars. Combined with the white bread, this creates a sugar surge, a flood of glucose entering your body within minutes. Now, here's the problem, especially if you're over 60. Your metabolism is slower. Your insulin response, the way your body handles sugar, isn't as sharp as it once was. Your blood vessels are more delicate, and your heart is already working harder just to maintain normal circulation. When you eat white bread and jam first thing in the morning, your blood sugar spikes rapidly, triggering a big release of insulin. Then, just an hour or two later, your blood sugar crashes, leaving you feeling weak, dizzy, tired, and unknowingly putting strain on your heart. Over time, this constant cycle of spiking and crashing causes chronic, low-grade inflammation, a silent process that damages the inner lining of your arteries, makes your blood vessels stiff and narrow, promotes plaque buildup in your coronary arteries, increases insulin resistance and cholesterol, and slowly raises your risk of heart disease and stroke. Let me share a story with you. Mr. Harold Green, a 73-year-old retired train conductor, came to see me after experiencing tightness in his chest during a chilly morning walk. He'd always been active, never smoked, and took his medications faithfully. His blood pressure, however, was creeping up. His A1C, a marker of average blood sugar, was rising too. "I don't eat junk," he said. "Just toast and jelly every morning. That's all I need." But when we looked closer, we saw the issue. Harold was starting each day on a blood sugar roller coaster, one that was exhausting his heart and confusing his metabolism. His arteries were under pressure, and his insulin response had become sluggish, all triggered by what seemed like a simple breakfast. We made some gentle changes, swapped the white bread for sprouted grain toast, higher in fiber and nutrients, replaced the sugary jam with almond butter and half a banana. Still sweet, but much more heart-friendly. Within just 3 months, Harold reported more energy, fewer palpitations, and better blood sugar control. "I didn't realize breakfast could hurt me," he told me. "It never felt like a threat." And that's exactly the danger. White bread and jam don't look harmful. They feel familiar, even comforting. But for an aging heart, they're silent saboteurs. So if you've been starting your day with that nostalgic slice of toast and jelly, please take a second look. It might be doing more harm than good. And if something as innocent as toast and jam can trigger inflammation and arterial stress. What happens when your healthy cereal is loaded with hidden sugars and sodium? Let's look at the second breakfast food now. 2. Instant breakfast cereals. The heart-healthy lie that's hurting seniors. Walk down the cereal aisle at any grocery store, and you'll see a rainbow of boxes shouting promises. Low fat, cholesterol lowering, made with whole grains, heart smart. These labels are designed to build your trust, especially if you're over 60 and doing your best to eat responsibly. But for so many of my patients, these cereals are doing the opposite of what they claim. They're not supporting heart health, they're damaging it. Let's break this down. Most instant cereals, even the ones that look natural, are made with refined grains, added sugars, preservatives, and sodium-based flavor enhancers. Even a cereal that seems healthy may have 15-20 grams of added sugar per serving, over 200 milligrams of sodium, almost no fiber, and zero real nutrition to slow down your digestion. So what happens when you pour yourself a bowl? Your blood sugar spikes, just like with white bread. And without enough fiber or protein to slow it down, that spike leads to a sudden insulin rush. For older adults, this cycle becomes even more dangerous. It increases vascular inflammation, promotes plaque formation, disrupts blood pressure regulation, and contributes to arterial stiffness, which is a key driver of heart disease. And don't forget the sodium, often hidden under names like natural flavors or baking soda. For seniors already on blood pressure medication, this extra salt can undo the effects of your pills without you even realizing it. Let me tell you about Mrs. Virginia Wallace, a 76-year-old retired piano teacher. She walked every day, avoided red meat, and never touched fried food. She truly believed she was doing everything right, but her blood pressure was still high, and her energy levels were crashing before noon. When I asked her about breakfast, she smiled proudly and said, "I always eat my healthy cereal, multigrain with skim milk, that's it." We pulled out the box and looked together. 19 grams of sugar, 280 milligrams of sodium, 0 grams of fiber. Her metabolism was in chaos before 9 a.m. every single day. So we made the swap. Homemade steel-cut oats, no added sugar, a spoonful of chia seeds, walnuts, and fresh blueberries. Within weeks, her blood pressure began to fall. Her energy came back. She called me and said, "I had no idea that healthy cereal was draining the life out of me." And that's the truth. Many seniors are doing their absolute best, but being misled by clever marketing. So please, the next time you see a box claiming it's good for your heart, turn it around. Read the sugar, read the sodium, read the fiber. If it has more than 5 grams of sugar or sodium per serving, toss it out. Because your breakfast isn't just a bowl of food. It's either your first step toward healing or your first step towards silent harm. 3. Sausages and bacon, the savory breakfast tradition that's slowly clogging your arteries. Let's talk about something sacred in many American households: bacon and sausage. For decades, these sizzling savory staples have meant comfort, Saturday mornings with the family, breakfast after church, or a quiet treat to start the day. But I need to tell you something that may be difficult to hear. If you're over 60, these familiar breakfast meats are quietly clogging your arteries and putting your heart under daily stress, whether you feel it or not. Even the leanest-looking bacon or turkey sausage often contains 3 major threats to an aging heart: saturated fat, which raises LDL cholesterol, stiffens arteries, and increases your risk of heart failure; excess sodium, which elevates blood pressure, causes water retention, and makes blood vessels more rigid; chemical preservatives, like nitrates and nitrites, which promote inflammation and oxidative damage in the heart and kidneys. After 60, your body changes. Your arteries become less elastic, which means your heart has to push harder to move blood. Your kidneys don't filter sodium as efficiently, and your metabolism doesn't manage fat like it used to. So when you begin your morning with processed meats, even if it's just a few strips, your heart is forced to pump against higher pressure, thicker blood, and narrower vessels. It's like asking your heart to push water through a straw that's slowly filling with cement. Let me tell you about Mr. Raymond Delgado, age 79, a retired firefighter. He was proud of his routine, walked every day, took his medications, stayed away from desserts. But when I asked what he had for breakfast, he smiled and said, "I've had the same thing since I got back from overseas. 3 strips of bacon, 2 eggs, and toast. It's what keeps me going." Unfortunately, what Howard didn't realize was that this breakfast alone was giving him over 600 milligrams of sodium, more than 8 grams of saturated fat, all before he even sipped his coffee. When combined with his ACE inhibitor, mild kidney decline, and age, that harmless tradition had created the perfect storm for a heart event. We ran labs. His LDL cholesterol was elevated. His echocardiogram showed left ventricular hypertrophy. His heart muscle had thickened from years of pressure. It wasn't failing yet, but it was fighting hard. So we rebuilt his breakfast, replaced bacon with sautéed mushrooms and spinach and olive oil, added half an avocado and 1 boiled egg, used sprouted toast instead of white bread. 2 months later, Raymond came back 8 pounds lighter, more energetic, and said, "I miss the smell of bacon, but I don't miss the way I felt after eating it." That's the thing with foods like sausage and bacon. They don't hurt you like a cut or a fall. They harm you quietly, invisibly, through inflammation, blood pressure spikes, and artery strain. If you've been holding on to bacon or sausage for the comfort, the routine, or the flavor, I completely understand. But ask yourself this: is that moment of comfort worth years of damage to the heart that's worked so hard to carry you this far? And just when you think that's the worst of it, let's talk about one of the most misleading breakfast traps out there: the muffin. 4. Muffins, pancakes, and syrups. The light breakfast that's weighing down your heart. A warm muffin, a short stack of pancakes, maybe a little syrup. They feel so gentle, so innocent, so normal. But I have to tell you the truth. These common light breakfasts can be some of the most dangerous meals a senior can start the day with. Why? Because beneath the sweetness lies a deadly combination of refined white flour, added sugars, trans fats, or hydrogenated oils. These baked goods break down into glucose almost immediately, triggering sharp blood sugar spikes, especially harmful in seniors whose insulin sensitivity has declined with age. Your body's ability to process sugar slows down in your 60s and beyond. So when you eat a muffin or pour syrup over pancakes, your blood sugar rises fast. Your insulin rushes in. And within an hour or two, your blood sugar crashes, leaving you tired, dizzy, foggy, and unknowingly stressing your heart. Those sugar crashes don't just zap your energy. They also disrupt your heart rhythm, raise oxidative stress, and worsen vascular inflammation, which contributes to plaque buildup and long-term cardiovascular risk. And most of these breakfast foods contain little to no fiber or protein, so they do nothing to protect you from the sugar roller coaster. Let me introduce you to Mrs. Dorothy Simmons, age 82, a retired elementary school teacher. She came to me after her daughter noticed she was having more frequent dizzy spells in the late mornings. Her labs were stable. Her medications hadn't changed. But something wasn't adding up. We walked through her daily habits, and there it was. Every morning, Janice had store-bought blueberry muffins with coffee. No bacon, no eggs, no fried food. She thought she was doing well, but each muffin contained over 25 grams of sugar, 0 fiber, and absolutely no protein or fat to balance her blood sugar. That meant her body was spiking and crashing every morning, sending her heart rate, blood pressure, and energy into chaos. We made a small shift: half a banana with plain Greek yogurt, a sprinkle of cinnamon, a small handful of oats or walnuts. Just a few weeks later, the dizzy spells were gone. Her energy was back, and she looked at me with quiet surprise and said, "I didn't know something so small could cause such a big problem." And that's exactly it. Foods like muffins and syrup don't feel dangerous. They feel light, sweet, easy. But for the aging body, they are sugar bombs that quietly overload your cardiovascular system. Even the syrup? Most commercial pancake syrups are filled with high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, and preservatives, all of which increase liver stress, triglycerides, and arterial damage. So before you reach for that muffin or drizzle that syrup, stop and ask, is this truly nourishing my heart, or is it quietly wearing it down? And if that surprised you, wait until you hear what's hiding in that cheerful glass of morning juice. Coming up next. 5. Bottled fruit juices, the healthy morning drink that's spiking your blood sugar and straining your heart. For generations, a glass of orange juice at breakfast has symbolized health, sunshine, and self-care. You've seen it on every breakfast table ad since the 1950s. A bright, cheerful drink that says, "I'm doing something good for myself." But what if I told you that morning juice, especially bottled or store-bought fruit juices, may be doing your heart more harm than good? Here's why this matters, especially after 6 0. Most bottled fruit juices, even the ones that say 100% juice, no sugar added, or all natural, are stripped of their most important component, fiber. Fiber is what slows sugar absorption in whole fruit. Without it, the natural sugar in juice is absorbed rapidly, flooding your bloodstream like a wave. And for a senior body, that sugar surge is extremely hard to manage. Your insulin response is slower, your liver and pancreas are less efficient, your arteries are more fragile. So even a single 12 ounces glass of orange juice with 30 plus grams of natural sugar can cause sharp blood sugar spikes, elevated insulin levels, rapid heart rate increases, blood vessel constriction, and ultimately vascular inflammation that raises your long-term risk of stroke, heart disease, and memory problems. Let me share the story of Mrs. Evelyn Brooks, a 75-year-old retired social worker. She was doing everything right, ate clean, didn't touch soda, took her meds, but she came to me with complaints of mild chest tightness and fatigue, especially in the mornings. Her labs and EKG looked fine at first, but something felt off. Then she mentioned her routine. Every morning, I start with a tall glass of orange juice. It's my one treat, better than soda, right? But here's what Gloria didn't realize. Her healthy juice had more sugar than a can of Coca-Cola, and she was drinking it on an empty stomach, causing blood sugar to spike and her heart rate to jump within 30 minutes. We confirmed this using a 24-hour heart monitor. It showed mild tachycardia episodes each morning after her juice. Small but consistent stress signals on her heart. I explained the truth. Juice is not the same as fruit. An orange has fiber, water, antioxidants, and takes time to digest. Juice is sugar in liquid form, even if it's natural, so we made a simple change. Replaced juice with a whole orange. Paired it with a handful of walnuts or a boiled egg to stabilize her blood sugar. Within weeks, Evelyn felt more energized. Her chest tightness faded, her heart rhythm normalized, and she was stunned. "I've been trying so hard to avoid junk," she said. "I never imagined orange juice was sabotaging my heart." It's not just orange juice. The same goes for apple juice, grape juice, green juices that still contain fruit concentrates, even blends labeled no added sugar. So if you're sipping juice each morning because you think it's better than soda, please look again. The better choice: whole fruits with natural fiber, paired with healthy fat or protein that nourish your body without sending your system into sugar shock. Because if your morning drink behaves like soda in disguise, what happens when your morning coffee comes topped with whipped cream and flavored syrup? Let's look at that next. 6. Flavored coffee drinks, the hidden sugar bomb that's waking up your heart the wrong way. For many of us, myself included, coffee is a comforting ritual. It's the smell of a new day, the warmth of a quiet moment, the way we say, "Let's begin." And plain black coffee in moderation can actually support your heart and brain. But here's the warning: coffee has been transformed. What used to be a simple, grounding beverage has become a liquid dessert disguised as a morning drink. I'm talking about flavored lattes, creamy frappes, mocha blends, or even home brews topped with flavored creamer, syrups, or sweeteners. These drinks often contain 25 to 50 grams of sugar in a single serving, saturated fats from whipped toppings or heavy cream, and caffeine, a stimulant that raises blood pressure and heart rate. Now, here's why that matters so much after 60. When that much sugar and caffeine hits your bloodstream early in the day, your body responds with a surge of insulin, a spike in blood pressure, and a jump in heart rate. For a younger person, that may just mean jitters, but for an aging heart, it can trigger palpitations, disrupt your medications, create arrhythmias, and push your heart into a state of chronic stress. Let me introduce you to Mr. Walter Kimura, a 77-year-old retired accountant. Leonard prided himself on being healthy, walked every day, took all his meds, ate clean. But he came to me feeling fatigued and noticed an irregular pulse after breakfast. We ran a Holter monitor, and the data was clear. Walter was experiencing frequent premature atrial contractions, extra beats in the upper heart chambers. Not life-threatening, but definitely a sign of heart stress. I asked about caffeine and sugar. He hesitated, then admitted, "Every morning I grab a vanilla latte with whipped cream. It's my little treat." That drink had 42 grams of sugar, 300 calories, a high dose of caffeine, all before breakfast. This blend was overstimulating his heart, raising inflammation, and undoing the benefits of his blood pressure medications. We made one simple swap: black coffee with a splash of unsweetened almond milk. The result? His heart rhythm stabilized, his blood pressure evened out, and he felt more clear-headed throughout the morning. "I thought it was just coffee," he told me. "I didn't know it was sabotaging my heart." And that's the danger. These drinks don't feel dangerous. They feel warm, festive, familiar. But inside your body, they're setting off a storm of stress, sugar, and strain. So, no, you don't need to give up coffee, but you do need to look at what's in your coffee and ask, is this warming your heart or wearing it out? And if you think we've covered all the major traps, think again. 7. Granola and dried fruit. Yo, the crunchy health food that's overloading your heart with sugar and salt. Let's talk about a breakfast combo that feels like the perfect healthy start. A small bowl of crunchy granola, maybe topped with some raisins or dried cranberries, and a splash of almond milk or yogurt. It sounds nutritious, it sounds natural, and it's something many seniors proudly tell me they eat. But here's the truth. Granola and dried fruit are two of the most misleading health foods on the shelf, and they can quietly overload your heart with sugar and salt every morning. Let's break this down clearly. Granola, especially the store-bought kind, is often loaded with added sugars, containing saturated fats and oils to bind it together, high in calories and sodium to extend shelf life and taste, and served in portions much larger than the label suggests. And then there's dried fruit, which may sound like a wholesome topping, but dried fruit is simply fruit with the water removed, leaving behind a highly concentrated form of sugar. In fact, one small handful of dried cranberries can contain 14-20 grams of sugar. Some brands even add sugar and preservatives like sulfur dioxide, which can irritate sensitive lungs and digestive systems in older adults. When you combine granola and dried fruit, you're often consuming 30-40 grams of sugar before 9 a.m. And for someone over 60, that can trigger blood sugar surges, inflammation in the arteries, weight gain around the midsection, and elevated triglycerides, which directly increase your risk of a heart attack. Let me introduce you to Mrs. Margaret Chen, age 80, a retired home economics teacher. She came to my clinic exhausted, complaining of energy crashes, rising cholesterol, and elevated blood pressure despite her small meals and clean diet. When I asked what she ate for breakfast, she smiled. Just a bowl of granola with dried cranberries and almond milk. It's better than bacon and eggs. But when we examined her labels, the granola had 18 grams of sugar per serving. The dried cranberries added another 14 grams. That's more sugar than a glazed donut. In something marketed as natural, we made a switch. Plain unsweetened oats, a few slices of fresh banana, a sprinkle of chopped walnuts for healthy fats and protein. 6 weeks later, Margaret's blood pressure had stabilized, her LDL cholesterol improved, and she no longer felt that foggy exhaustion by mid-morning. I thought I was doing everything right, she told me. No one ever told me how sneaky sugar could be. And that's the takeaway here. Even healthy food can harm your heart if you don't understand what's really in it. So next time you reach for that bag of granola or dried fruit, turn it around. Look at the sugar content, the sodium, and the serving size. Your heart deserves truth, not trickery. And it's never too late to make a smarter choice, even with something as small as your morning topping. 8. Flavored yogurt. So, the gut-friendly food that's quietly spiking your blood sugar. Yogurt has long been seen as a superfood, especially for seniors. It's gentle on the stomach, it's rich in calcium, it's associated with gut health, and it's easy to eat, even if your appetite is small. But not all yogurts are created equal. And if your yogurt is flavored, like strawberry, blueberry, vanilla, or honey, then what you're actually eating is closer to a dessert than a heart-healthy meal. Most flavored yogurts contain 18 to 25 grams of sugar in a tiny 6-ounce container, artificial flavors, preservatives, and sweetened fruit purees, low protein and low fiber, which means no support for blood sugar stability. So even though yogurt seems like a small, healthy choice, it's creating a huge glucose spike. And that's especially dangerous for seniors whose insulin function has declined. Let's talk biology for a moment. After 60, your pancreas produces insulin more slowly, your cells become more resistant to that insulin, and your blood vessels are more vulnerable to damage. So when you eat flavored yogurt first thing in the morning, you're delivering a sugar hit to your bloodstream, triggering inflammation, artery stress, and a potential crash just an hour or two later. This kind of blood sugar roller coaster contributes to fatigue, lightheadedness, irregular heartbeat, and long-term risks like atherosclerosis and heart failure. Let me tell you about Mrs. Teresa Romero. She is 73 years old. She came to see me about fatigue, lightheadedness, and occasional heart palpitations by late morning. She wasn't eating fast food. She wasn't drinking soda. In fact, she told me she had cut out all the heavy stuff and replaced it with yogurt and fruit every day. But when I asked what kind, she said, "Strawberry yogurt, low fat. I top it with a banana. That's my breakfast. That one small meal, nearly 40 grams of sugar and no fiber to slow it down. We made the swap, plain Greek yogurt, full fat or low fat, topped with fresh berries, a sprinkle of ground flaxseed for heart-friendly omega-3s and fiber. Within just a few weeks, Teresa's blood pressure was more stable. Her energy returned, and the palpitations disappeared. I thought yogurt was the healthiest thing I could eat," she said. "No one told me how much sugar was hiding in the flavored kind. That's the key. Most flavored yogurts look harmless. They're marketed with words like organic, light, or blended fruit. But your heart doesn't care about marketing. It cares about what's really inside. So if yogurt is part of your breakfast, and I hope it is, just make sure it's the kind that supports your heart, not secretly sabotages it. Choose unsweetened, plain yogurt and sweeten it yourself with a few fresh berries, a pinch of cinnamon, or a few chopped nuts or seeds for texture and blood sugar control. Because even a small breakfast choice can make a big difference in how your heart functions today and in the years to come." 9. Skipping breakfast. The nothing is better myth that's silently weakening your heart. Now this one might surprise you, because while we've talked about muffins, cereals, and sugary drinks, we haven't yet talked about what happens when you eat nothing at all. Many older adults have quietly adopted the habit of skipping breakfast. You may not feel hungry in the morning, or maybe you're trying to lose a little weight, or you've read that intermittent fasting is healthy. So you sip coffee, take your meds, and figure food can wait. But I want to say this as clearly as I can. After 60, skipping breakfast can be one of the most dangerous habits for your heart. Here's why. When you don't eat in the morning, your body doesn't just sit calmly and wait. It kicks into stress mode, releasing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to keep your blood sugar up and your energy going. In your younger years, your cardiovascular system could handle this temporary surge. But as we age, our systems become less resilient. Arteries are less flexible. Heart rate regulation becomes more fragile. Blood pressure becomes more sensitive to hormonal changes. So, instead of giving your heart a calm start to the day, skipping breakfast floods your body with stress signals before you've even gotten dressed. What's more, without food in your stomach, your morning medications, especially for blood pressure, heart rhythm, or diabetes, may absorb too quickly or unevenly. That can lead to dizziness, sudden blood sugar crashes, heart palpitations, and in some cases, even fainting or falling. Let me tell you about Mr. Frank D'Angelo, a 83-year-old retired brick mason. He came to see me after he fell in his driveway one morning. He hadn't passed out, but said he felt dizzy and just kind of blanked out while walking to get the newspaper. His daughter insisted he come in, and I'm glad she did. When we reviewed his morning routine, I spotted the problem immediately. Frank took his medications at 7 a.m. with a cup of black coffee, but didn't eat anything until noon. He had been skipping breakfast since he retired. "Didn't feel like I needed it," he said. But here's what was happening inside his body. His beta blocker slowed his heart rate. His statin lowered cholesterol, but also affected energy. His diuretic flushed sodium from his system. Combined with no food, this caused a cortisol spike, a dip in blood sugar, low sodium, and a dangerously low blood pressure by mid-morning. That fall in the driveway, it wasn't just a random slip. It was his heart asking for help. We made a gentle change. A small, balanced breakfast. Half a slice of whole grain toast, 1 boiled egg, a few slices of avocado for healthy fat and potassium. He started taking his medication with food, and within days, the dizziness disappeared. "I never thought doing nothing could be doing damage," he said. And he's not alone. Skipping breakfast may sound like a harmless shortcut or even a healthy choice. But for aging bodies, it creates hormonal stress, disrupts medication absorption, and forces your heart to work harder without fuel. Your heart is your engine, and even the best engine can't run on empty. So if you've been telling yourself, "I'm fine without food in the morning," I urge you to reconsider, because that first meal, even if it's small, can provide the stability, strength, and support your heart needs to carry you through the day. The good news, it doesn't need to be big, fancy, or complicated, but it does need to be intentional and tailored to work with your body, not against it. Now that we've walked through the 9 breakfasts that may be quietly damaging your heart, you may be wondering, so what should I eat instead? Let's dive into that next, because there are simple, delicious, heart-protective choices that can help you feel stronger, clearer, and more energized. Starting tomorrow morning, after hearing about the breakfast foods that can quietly wear down your heart, you may be thinking, well, then what can I eat? What's left? That's exactly the right question, because here's the truth most doctors don't take the time to say. After age 60, breakfast isn't just about staying full. It's about staying alive. Every meal, especially the first one of your day, is an opportunity to either fuel your healing or silently feed your inflammation. And the good news is, there are delicious, simple, affordable breakfast choices that can protect your heart, support your medications, and give you the strength and steadiness you need to move through your day with confidence. Let me tell you about Mrs. Helen Okafor, age 85, a retired community nurse. She came to see me not because she was sick, but because she wanted to stay ahead of sickness. "I just feel heavier in the mornings," she said. "My blood pressure's been creeping up. My energy is down. I don't want to get to the point where I need more pills." What struck me most was her clarity. "I just want to feel steady again." So we started with her breakfast. Not a diet, not a detox, just a new morning rhythm built around real food. Here's what we built: steel-cut oats, slow-cooked, not the instant kind. A spoon of chia seeds for omega-3s, a handful of blueberries, just enough sweetness, packed with antioxidants. Twice a week, 1 boiled egg, half an avocado, and sprouted grain toast. On weekends, a bowl of plain Greek yogurt with cinnamon and crushed walnuts. Within 3 weeks, Helen's blood pressure came down, her energy lifted, and she looked at me and said, "I don't feel like I'm chasing energy anymore. I feel steady." And that's what I want for you too. So let's talk about what kinds of breakfasts actually help your heart heal after 60. These aren't trendy. They aren't expensive. They're just smart, healing choices your heart can work with, not fight against. 1. Oats, preferably steel, cut or rolled, unsweetened. Rich in soluble fiber, which helps lower LDL, bad cholesterol. Keeps blood sugar stable, supports healthy digestion. 2. Avocados. Loaded with monounsaturated fats that reduce inflammation. High in potassium, which helps manage blood pressure. Pair well with eggs or whole grain toast for a savory, satisfying start. 3. Eggs, boiled, poached, or scrambled in olive oil. Packed with protein, choline, and essential nutrients. Support muscle retention and blood sugar stability. Contrary to old myths, moderate egg consumption is not harmful to the heart when part of a balanced diet. 4. Berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. High in antioxidants that protect arterial walls, low in sugar, high in fiber. A sweet treat that won't spike your glucose. 5. Nuts and seeds, almonds, walnuts, chia, flaxseed. Rich in omega-3s and magnesium, lower inflammation, support blood vessel health and heart rhythm. 6. Cooked vegetables, spinach, zucchini, carrots. When sautéed in olive oil, they provide fiber, antioxidants, and blood pressure support. Great in a savory breakfast bowl with eggs or beans. 7. Whole grain or sprouted bread. Offers complex carbs that release energy slowly. Packed with B vitamins, which support nerve and heart function. Won't cause the sugar crash you get from white bread. 8. Olive oil, a heart-smart alternative to butter or margarine. Rich in polyphenols that lower inflammation and support arterial flexibility. These foods do something very important. They work with your medications, support your blood pressure, and protect your arteries, all without sending your glucose or heart rate into chaos. And perhaps most importantly, they help you start your day feeling clearer, calmer, and more in control. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. You don't need to do this flawlessly. You just need to do it intentionally, with meals that match what your body needs now, not what it used to tolerate in your 30s or 40s. Because when you start your morning with real fiber, healthy fats, moderate protein, and natural low-sugar ingredients, you send a powerful signal to your body. I'm protecting my heart. I'm giving it the support it needs to keep going strong. And that's the truth I want every senior to know. Even small breakfast changes can create big shifts in your energy, blood pressure, cholesterol, and confidence. So if you've been starting your day with white toast, juice, sugary yogurt, or nothing at all, don't feel guilty. You didn't fail. You were following what you were told. But now you know better, and that gives you power. Start with one change tomorrow, just one. Add oats. Swap the juice for fruit. Use plain yogurt instead of flavored, or simply eat something if you've been skipping breakfast altogether. You don't need a perfect body to make progress. You just need a willing heart. And tomorrow morning, that heart will thank you. If you've made it this far in the video, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not too late, and your heart is not too far gone. No matter your age, whether you're 60, 70, 80, or even older, your heart still has the capacity to heal, to strengthen, and to carry you forward. But it needs your help, and it starts with the small, quiet choices you make each morning. Your heart has been beating inside your chest since the day you were born, through joy, through grief, through late nights and long days. It's been with you through every chapter of your life, without applause, without complaint. And now, after decades of showing up for you, your heart is simply asking for a little attention, a little care, a little consistency. Because the truth is, the foods that once felt fine in your 30s or 40s, the toast, the juice, the pastries, the skipping meals, may now be placing stress on a system that no longer has the same biological cushion. Your digestion is slower. Your insulin response is weaker. Your blood vessels have carried a lifetime of work. But that doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean it's too late. In fact, this may be the perfect moment to take control, not because you're afraid of what might happen, but because you believe you still deserve to feel good in your body. You deserve to wake up feeling clear. You deserve to move through your day with energy and confidence. You deserve to feel steady, strong, and in charge of your health, not at the mercy of it. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I've seen 82-year-olds reverse pre-diabetes. I've seen 70-year-olds cut their blood pressure medications in half. I've seen widowed grandmothers take back control of their health, not out of fear, but out of love for the life they still want to live. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. But what you do need is a mindset that says, I still matter, my health still matters, and I'm still in charge of what comes next. Because that single choice, to eat a heart-protective breakfast tomorrow, may seem small, but over weeks and months, those quiet moments of care add up. They lower your blood pressure, they reduce your stroke risk, they help you walk longer, think clearer, and laugh louder. So here's what I want you to remember. Your next heartbeat is a gift. Your next meal is a chance. Your next decision can either strain your heart or serve it. Choose to serve it. You are not finished. Your story is not over. And your heart, if you care for it, still has so much life left to give. Before you go, I want to ask you something simple, but powerful. What did you learn today that you're going to apply tomorrow? Maybe it's swapping juice for a real orange. Maybe it's finally ditching the sugary cereal. Maybe it's just eating something in the morning instead of skipping it altogether. Whatever it is, take a moment and type it in the comments. Let me know what landed with you and what you're ready to change. And if this video helped you feel more informed, more empowered, or more in control of your health, please do 3 quick things. Click like. It tells YouTube to share this message with more seniors who need it. Subscribe to Trusted Senior Health, so you never miss another video built just for you. And tap the bell icon so you're the first to know when we release new tips, habits, and healing strategies. We're here to walk this journey with you, one breakfast, one heartbeat, one step at a time. Because this isn't about fear, it's about freedom. It's about giving your body the chance to feel better, more balanced, more energized, more alive. And so thank you for watching. Thank you for caring. And thank you, truly, for showing up for your health today. Until next time, stay strong, stay steady, and never stop believing that your best days still matter. So, because they do.